people often see exhibitions as a standalone marketing tactic that has nothing to do with the rest of your business. Yep. And that is kind of where it falls down in itself. It is an integrated piece of marketing activity that gives you content to use through the other channels of marketing.
I think that it could be that, with digital marketing kind of being prevalent, you almost get this shorter sales cycle sometimes, don't you? Whereas exhibitions, there needs to be that longer view of, okay, well, we're just, like you say, there's 3 different types of people that are coming in. The ones that have only just met you or know about your brand. It's going to take you time to then build that relationship either digitally or through sales reps or whatever after the show, isn't it? That could take about, like you say, anywhere up to 2 years, right?
Absolutely. And the other thing that we always kind of just counsel clients on is visitors are out of the office, they're out of their business, they're having a really lovely day out, they're meeting lots of interesting people, they're catching up with their mates. Exhibitions are generally pretty happy, positive places to be. And actually you're in quite a good mood. You see lots of things that you think, oh God, this would really help with our business. That would move us forward. And you forget about, the HR problems you've got back in the office, the supply issues, the machine that's just gone down, all of that kind of stuff, because you're just having quite a nice day. Mm. So you want to do all of these things. And you genuinely, as a visitor, when you're talking to an exhibitor, you genuinely mean, this is great. I'd really like this in my business. But when you get back to the office and you're faced with 101 problems that you left, it all kind of goes out the window. So, kind of don't get too carried away with, oh my God, we've seen all these people and, they were so positive and we're not getting anything straight away. That's why things don't happen straight away, because people go back to reality and have to find time to fit into their already busy schedule, taking on a new supplier or a new initiative or doing something differently.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, with the dynamics of exhibitions, you're going to see so many suppliers offering you the same sort of service or product or whatever. So what we encourage our clients to do is, in that golden hour, on the first day when your stand looks absolutely pristine, get somebody there with a decent camera or a decent phone camera and take a photograph of the stand with the people that have been manning the stand. And then when you send it was great to meet you, we'd like to give you this information, blah, blah, blah. Send a copy of that photograph as embedded into that email. And then straight away, they make that contact. Oh, God, yeah, I remember those guys. I actually talked to that person there. And it's just that
memory aid,
yeah.
Because they'll have seen so much. There's so much visual stimulation that they'll just think, oh, yeah, digital marketing agent, which one were they? What were they talking to me about? So anything you can do to remind them, or if you've had an offer or, a game and they've won or anything like that really helps.
No, that's one of the nuggets that I love that you shared. And I think we spoke about it in another episode and shouted you out that that was just such a nugget, but also can carry into content, right? Which is like before the exhibition, get those sales reps into some videos or into some social posts so people know who they might go to see. And then after, because you can form a relationship digitally before anybody even comes on the stand, and it just makes it a bit easier, doesn't it? For sure. So in that case, going into team members, I know you guys had some really good characters that you mentioned, but who out of your team should be on the stand and who shouldn't?
The only people who should ever want to be on your or should ever be on your stand are the people who want to be on your stand. If you have a team member who says, I don't really think this is for me, I don't really want to do it, don't take them. It'll be painful for you, it'll be painful for them. They are far better served back in the office actioning your follow-up plan. Wow. So even if you've got to hire in extra resource because you haven't got enough people in your team who are up for it, that is a far better way to do it.
I mean, we do training sessions, as in physically go out to meet clients with their teams and show them practically how they should be managing their stand. And we've turned people around on that training day that didn't want to go but felt reassured after we'd shown them what sort of responses they could get. So Nick and I role play, good cop, bad cop. And then there was some that just said, nah, still I really don't want to go. And it's unfair on that individual to make them go and say, it'll be a good learning curve, you'll get something out of it. You're just adding to their anxiety, and that'll come across in the way that they then interact with your potential clients. So absolutely nowhere near the exhibition hall.
Yeah, and I think we're little freaky weirdos who would like spend all day, every day on an exhibition stand if we could, even though actually we're both introverts to a certain degree. We're not really those kind of naturally very outgoing, but we really love that exhibition experience. But let's not kid anybody. It's really hard work, physically, emotionally, mentally. They are draining, our exhibitions, and they're not for everybody. So you've got to go into it thinking, okay, you're not going to eat, you're not going to get to go to the loo very much, you're not going to get to sit down, but actually you'll have some fun. You'll really, really have some fun. And the characters we talk about, we give them names just because it's easy for people to remember, but we have people like your freebie Phoebe, who is just really, really comfortable giving out pens and baseball caps and key rings and all of that, but actually take it further than that conversation, doesn't really know where to go, doesn't know how to begin that filtering. And that could be just giving them some questions and some training and a little bit of confidence, and they could absolutely fly. You kind of wallflower Wilma who says, I just want to slink at the back of the stage, I don't want to talk to anybody. That's me all over. That's naturally who I am. Sometimes you sort of think, well, actually, should they be there? Should they be back in the office? Yeah, hard sell Hank, who just wants to sell. Chatty Charlie, Stevie, who will ask you everything about your life. He'll be your best mate in a 40-minute conversation and then go, oh yeah, by the way, what is it you do? And it's like, oh my God, you've just wasted 40 minutes finding out everything you possibly can about them. So you've just got to, and then we've got Jack the lad, it could be Jackie the lady who's been out all night on the booze, comes in with a raving hangover, latest iPhone, latest watch, chatting to everybody, life and soul of the party. And they are brilliant for giving you some energy when it gets a bit tiring towards the end of the day. So more than anything we say, it's just about knowing who is in your squad. What are their characteristics? What are the behaviours? What are they good at? What have you got in terms of skills? Have you got a blend? Or have you got all Wallflower Wilmas or all Jacks? And just trying to help each other to point out those little characteristics that are maybe making your team unbalanced. All you're trying to do is just balance the team with the skills that you need.
And it is about exhibition persona. So as Nick said, if we do a Myers-Briggs or whatever the latest one is, we come out as introverts and people going, you're kidding. No, because when we're on site, we put on an exhibition persona. We're there to do a job, and we can get over our need not to be too peoply, and that it works. And you can train that in, just so long as afterwards you've got that decompression time. So the classic example with Nick and I, if we're working at an NEC, to get home it's a 3.5 hour drive. We get in the car and there's no music on, and we do not talk to each other. Because we're just trying to get our minds, think through what we've done on the exhibition, how we could have done better, what did we do well. And yes, we'll discuss that one the following day. But that 3.5 hour journey, you could hear a pin drop in our car. Because that's us just decompressing, because we've been too peoply for 3 days or 4 days, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it is that kind of understanding what people need, and then if you've got a freebie Phoebe or even a Wallflower Wilma who says, but I want to be good at this, I really want to do it, understanding that actually just giving them that script, those filtering questions, so that giving them the training so they understand the objectives, they understand what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to get the contacts for, what the process is for getting contacts, what the follow-up is, so they're never going to be in a position where they can't answer a question.
Or if they can't, or if they find themselves where they're being pressed and they don't know the answer, they know who to go to within the team that's on that stand. So it's just, that's a brilliant question. I personally, I'm not the best person to answer that, but if you just give me 2 seconds, once my colleagues finish talking to this visitor, I'll introduce you and you'll be away again.
And one thing we didn't actually get into at the Automechanika day because we couldn't cover absolutely everything. But it's about standards and behaviour. So there are some real key behaviours that come up time and time again in research that put visitors off coming and speaking to exhibitors on stands. The prime one is seeing people eating and drinking. The worst thing you can do, eat and drink on your stand. People on their phones, doing emails or sat on a laptop, being ignored and not being listened to. Those are kind of the top three things. So we would just say, just don't do that on your stand. But there are other little things around, you know, if somebody's a bit hungover or a bit tired, it annoys the rest of the team. Or if somebody's a bit full on selling or somebody's not pulling the weight. And actually with a lot of clients, we get the team, the squad that are going to be there to write their own rules. So what are the 10 behaviours, the 10 commandments of your stand that you're all going to adhere to? And if you see anybody breaking any of those, whether you're the MD or the person who's been in the business 2 weeks, you have license to approach anybody and just say, look, I saw you doing this. We said we weren't going to. You just quickly took a bite of your sandwich and we said we wouldn't. Look, I'll cover you. You go have your dinner, but we said we wouldn't do that. And that kind of works well because there's that collective responsibility for how you're going to behave as a squad.
I mean, and what they've got to remember as well, especially if you're doing the NEC or whatever, you know, you're in a cauldron in a hotel with loads of different people, loads of different companies. You are not off duty while you're at an exhibition. So one of our clients was in an industry that was really, really heavy on a drinking culture. We'd noticed this on going to this exhibition the year before. So these guys got us in and we said, right, as part of your 10 commandments, what are the rules going to be about having a drink on an evening? And the hard sell hanks, like, whoa, what are you on about? And we explained the reasons why. And they agreed that they would have 3 drinks on a night, and that was it. And they would go to bed at a reasonable time. They weren't going to go to like casino like they'd done the year before, and they were fresh as daisies the following day. They absolutely smashed. They broke all their sales records on that next show. And
to the point where they didn't have to exhibit the year after, so we weren't very popular because we trained them too well.
The organisers weren't too pleased. But, I mean, they literally absolutely...
They were amazing.
And interestingly enough, their leads were down at least 50%.
Maybe not that. Yeah.
Significant amount, but their returns on the 50% that they'd caught were qualified. They hit the floor running the following day, and their sales went through the roof. Yeah. To the extent that Nick and I walked on, and one of the guys that was really, really against us actually doing the training day, I've been doing this for 30 odd years, I know what I'm doing. And after the training day, he said, oh my God, I've been doing it wrong. Thank you so much. We walked onto the stand. He shook my hand and went, what are you looking for in the show today? And I went, what? He dropped his shoulder and went, there's I think what you're looking for is over the horizon. And I was just stood there going, oh my God, I've just been totally played here. but that's what they were doing. And it was brilliant. The only people on their stand were people that were actual leads.
That's amazing. And I guess that goes back to, again, the qualified conversations, doesn't it? Because you can feel like you're really smashing it, and well, probably not when you've got a heavy head. I mean, I had even said to Kitty Ann, there's a few clients that we've asked what their hotel is, so we specifically do not go to that hotel.
Good planning.
We knew what would happen. There's been a few 4 a.m.ers with those guys, so another thing that you guys touched on was, we mentioned, we're bringing our mum and she's going to give out leaflets. We were all happy with ourselves, and then you said that's probably a bad thing because, again,
that's nothing against your mum. I bet.
No, my mum's great.
Fabulous.
My mum's a lovely lady, but you're right. If we talk to her about SEO or PPC, she's none the wiser. So it could be that we're losing qualified conversations because we haven't got the right people or we haven't trained them. So in that case, I mean, I think the pitch that you just kind of made is exactly why you should train your team. But what does kind of good prep look like? Obviously, we've got those initial rules, probably figuring out what our roles are or tweaking those roles. I know for like my mum, we're giving her mini sales training and we'll hope that kind of works. So what would kind of the good prep look like?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it all goes back to those objectives so that everybody's really clear about what is it we're trying to achieve. So how many people are we wanting to talk to? What are we talking to them about? And what's the end goal? So being really clear about why are we invested in this show? Where does it fit into our overall marketing strategy? So they've got that vision. And then it's down to just giving them the confidence of the knowing where that conversation's going. So having that script with 2 or 3 questions, different questions at every stage of the conversation, to be able to say, look, so don't ever get to a point where they're like, oh, where now? Where do I go? It just feels like a very seamless conversation that makes sense to the visitor, and they understand where it's going and what they're being asked.
Yeah, and if you've been clever and the way that you've set your stand out is a customer journey, so the referencing on your stand graphics, literature, anything playing on your multimedia, whatever, and it's knowing how to guide that visitor through that journey on your stand. I mean, we've seen that done so well on all right, yeah, admittedly larger stands with massive budgets, but
you can take the principles to a small stand, and from a logistics perspective, just building on that, if there are sort of different elements, you're taking people on a journey, making sure that your team know how the stand works. So if you've got a game, then how does that bit of kit work? What are the prizes? Who wins? If you're demonstrating a product or a technology, I mean, there's nothing worse. We've seen it where, there's somebody's obviously come in just to do a couple of hours on the stand because, that's the right thing to do, to volunteer for a few hours. Clearly doesn't know how to use that bit of tech. He's pressing every button going on it, can't get it to work. He's just looking like a total idiot. Looks like, they're going, oh, and it's the easiest, coffee machine to use ever, as they press every button and nothing happens. So it's just like, if you are asking your team to do demonstrations, let them practice on it. Make sure they know what happens if it does break a little bit. Make sure they know what literature you've got to give out. What, if somebody does say anything about pricing, don't have the pricing conversation, but have a response that says, oh, well, that's something we'd send out to you later on. And, we work on value, whatever your strategy is for pricing. But just giving them as much information, and the little things like, this is the rota, so this is the point at which you're going to get half an hour off for your lunch. This is the hotel we're staying in. This is what we're wearing as uniform. Just so this is how we expect people to behave on site, us included. That's what we'll all do. Just so people feel really clear about, okay, I get up in the morning, I go here, I do a few hours, then I get there's no surprises. Nobody's anxious about it.
The biggest cardinal sin is leaving. We've already said, don't be on your computers, but things happen. Something's hit the fan. You need to go and sort something out straight away. Don't leave your laptop open where people can see it. Don't leave documentation lying around, which could be quite sensitive. We worked for a big brewery, and we invited our competitor onto our stand for some drinks and they actually left their 12-month sales strategy and price list on our stand. Oh my God, did we have a field day with that?
We obviously gave it them straight back without looking at it.
2 days later. But it's that's an extreme. But that your staff have to know what the bounds are, what they should and shouldn't be doing, and if in doubt, ask somebody.
I mean, you've just kind of gone into exactly what the guys on the stand should do, but you did mention something that you said that if they don't want to be on the stand, then maybe they should be in the office focusing on those follow-ups. So how would you approach follow-ups? Obviously, you've mentioned that they'd be tiered. I mean, our recommendation has always been write them before the exhibition even happens. And, if you guys are saying you've got 12 months for that, then bloody hell, this should all be gravy, shouldn't it? So what's your advice on following up with those leads?
Do exactly what you said. Yeah, exactly that. We've been in the position where you've been on your feet for 3 days. You probably have had a few late nights out. You're absolutely knackered. Everybody you've seen is like a blur of faces. And back in the days before technology, because we are actually that old, you would sit down the day after a show with 200 business cards, just looking at them thinking, where do I start with this? And then you think, oh God, even tackling that HR problem looks better than this. So I'll just put those to one side and you never get back to them. So as part of your planning strategy, you're looking at what are we going to say to people in each individual tier? When are we going to say it? And how do we keep the contact going? So just away from the follow-up point for a moment, people often see exhibitions as a standalone marketing tactic that has nothing to do with the rest of your business. Yep. And that is kind of where it falls down in itself. It is an integrated piece of marketing activity that gives you content to use through the other channels of marketing. So that's the kind of, as a whole marketing plan, you should already be saying, so the exhibition comes there, so our content for the following month is all around what we did at the exhibition. So we'll have video, we'll have blog posts, we'll have other stuff that we've seen people doing at the exhibition. We've got a video of a really great seminar. So you're already kind of doing general follow-up from the content for the exhibition. But definitely before the show, know exactly whatever CRM system you're using. There's an automatic email that goes out while the show is still happening to say, it was brilliant to meet you. Our team really enjoyed our conversation. Once we're off site, we'll be back in touch with you really soon. Then, like your your really hot prospects probably want a personalized email. There might only be a dozen, but those are the ones you want to sit down and write personally every single time, a bespoke message to them, answering the questions they were asking. The leads that you get that are maybe a little further out or not quite as warm, so those bronzes and silvers, a strategy for either here's our brochure or we've got an event coming up that we'd really like to invite you to, a demonstration, or we're doing an online webinar, would you like to be part of that? So trying to get them to engage with you on some other piece of activity. So knowing exactly what those are going to be, and you can pretty much just add the email addresses or get your CRM to link into that and just fire those out straight away the week after the show. But then planning the months after that, how are you going to keep in touch with them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it goes on budget and what technology you've got behind your organisations. But we know quite a few clients that once they've been categorised on the stand into bronze, silver, gold, platinum, whatever, their CRM system sends them an automated, thanks for seeing us today on the stand. It's got the picture already of you guys that you took on day one. We'll be in touch appropriately to your request or requirements. So they know straight away that you're on the ball, and they're going to be watching out for the next comms that goes out.
Yeah, what we've seen being done quite effectively is for those really, really hot leads, somebody's kind of blocked out 2 days in the diary the following week, and they're saying, can we book you in for a follow-up call next week? I've got this slot available 9 till 10, so that you've got like 2 days worth of follow-up calls with those really, really hot prospects, and get them booked into your calendar on site, get the kind of Teams link sent to them while they're still on site, so that you've got that mark in the diary to actually establish the next part of the buying journey.
Yeah, so essentially we want to segment them. Once we've got that, they've each got their own customer journey that we're just trying to guide that conversation. Because like you said, you don't want to be strong-arming them on the stand, but you can trickle that in those 7 touch points after the show.
Yeah, and I think if sometimes what emerges as you speak to people is that you might think, oh, everybody will be asking for a price list. But actually, everyone might start asking for if they're a wholesaler, what are the benefits to the retailer? Who's been buying this? Have you got any customer insight? And actually what emerges is, this information's really missing in the marketplace. This is what people want. And you can almost create a white paper, a blog post, a video, an explainer, whatever it is, that says, look, actually, all you guys were asking for this. Here we are, we've provided it for you. So you're trying to add value beyond just, can we sell you something? It's like, actually, at the show, we identified that. And here we are, we provided it for you.
Yeah, and interestingly, I mean, it was a big topic last year, but the shows that we've done this year, it seems to have even projected itself even more. Is what are your sustainability credentials?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you've got a stock question, a stock answer that your staff can say, oh well, we recycle this, or we do this, or whatever. We're doing X, Y, and Z. Because we have seen people walk off people's stands this year because they didn't think that there were the sustainability credentials, or the staff didn't know what the credentials
particularly
were.
Public sector. If you're trying to get into the public sector organisations.
So I suppose it's coming up with those answers, isn't it? And we had an episode with, I think, with Phil Curry from Auto Repair Focus, and he mentioned how, because he's a journalist, he uses exhibitions to make a 12-month content plan. And it's like you're saying, isn't it? You're going to have people asking the same questions over and over again, or bringing up the same hot topic over and over again. And maybe that's when, you guys mentioned those quick reviews in real time. You can adjust, make that stock answer, and then tweak as you go. So no, that's brilliant. Well, I have definitely gone a bit over on my time with you guys today, but I could talk to you forever. I've got another 20 questions, but thank you so much for joining us. And are there any final words that you'd say to any doting exhibitor that's trying to make it good?
Sorry, go on, you go first.
Enjoy yourselves.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I mean, we were on site in London, and I had a couple of agency staff working for me. And the first thing I said to them when we were briefing on what I wanted them to do was, if by day 4 we haven't left here giggling, best mates, smile on our face, I've got something wrong, or you guys have got something wrong.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely. Have some fun. And I think, don't sort of bite off more than you can chew. We know that the book we've written, and that the way we would coach clients would be to get every single step of the exhibition planning journey absolutely perfect. That is like the platinum standard. But flipping heck, that's hard to do from a time, a resource, just a brain space perspective. We know that's a massive, massive ask. So just have a look at your plan. If you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I've got all this to do, and the show's coming up in a week on Tuesday, isn't it? We will be on site, so we can't wait to see you all. So a week on Tuesday. And if you're thinking, how on earth do I do all that in like 9 days? Just pick 2 things. Just think, I'm going to brief my staff a little bit better, and we're going to have a few rules that make sure we all stick to the plan. Just pick 2 or 3 things that you can do, and you will have a better show than you were going to have if you do nothing. So just do something.
I wish I had heard that advice a few months ago, because we definitely signed up way too late and then have done everything in the last 2 weeks that has just absolutely driven us crazy. But could you let everybody know where to find you guys and also how you can help them?
Absolutely, we can. So I'm Nichola Reeder. This is Steve Reeder. We are both on LinkedIn. So that's probably the easiest way to get through to us. Although there is also a website, which is www.inspiringexhibitors.com. You can pick up a copy of the book, The Exhibitionist, but be careful what you Google. There are some interesting titles either side of us on Amazon. And we do everything from coaching your squad, helping you with exhibition consultancy, or providing staff for your stands if you don't have enough resource. And we would be delighted to help you with any of that. You can also have a power hour for £99. You get an hour of our time to kind of troubleshoot your specific issues.
Well worth it, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You've been the most brilliant host. Thank you so much for having us. We've loved it.